The Cowboy Prayer. May your belly never grumble, may your heart never ache, may your horse never stumble, may your cinch never break. Author unknown. Welcome to Colburn. Our town is rich in history as it is in green grass, cows, and friendly folks. Mosey on down High Street, starting at the east end of the town hall building and continue along the length of the structure. Then cross the street to the Public Works building to finish. The beginning. We start our tour with the Dominguez Escalante Expedition, an exploratory expedition of western Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico, done by Franciscan priests in 1776. While on their journey, the expedition party camped near present-day Colburn and named this site Santa Rosalia. To honor this great expedition and the start of what would become our town, the town of Colburn renames itself Santa Rosalia for a week every September. The Hawkshurst family was one of several families that were pioneers to settle in this area. The big trail, which leads to White Agency, is fresh. And as we went down Leon Creek, we came to two camps on Grove Creek and Salt Creeks, where the Indians were hiding out. And on Buzzard Creek, their fires were still alive where they had camped the night before. On reaching home, we built a cabin, turned our horses out, and were dead to the world for 6 months. The Hawkshurst first cabin was built up towards Vega Reservoir. It was a 16 by 16 foot cabin made of hand-hewn logs and oak pegs, with oiled flour sacks for windows. After one winter up at Vega, the Hawkshurst family came down to our area, where they settled permanently. The town was originally named Hawkshurst in honor of this pioneering family. Just a few years later, in 1892, Hawkshurst changed its name to Colburn after an English gentleman named Henry Colburn. This charismatic railroad and mining operator was encouraged greatly by the community to build a railroad through Plateau Valley that would help the area prosper and grow. The town of Colburn was later incorporated in 1908, keeping the name, even though the railroad was never constructed.
Up the street from you stands the Colburn Auditorium. Originally the location of John Fitzpatrick's livery stable, the auditorium was built in 1909 and was one of the largest auditoriums in any small town in the West. The auditorium has hosted events big and small since construction finished in 1911 and has become a staple in our community over the generations. Just south of the auditorium, directly up the street from where you stand, past the Service Women's Memorial, are the ruins of the Oasis Hotel, a once grand establishment that housed 20 rooms over its 3-story structure. It was fitted with gas lights, steam heat, and even baths, among other modern amenities of the time. Some concrete rubble from the original foundation is all that remains after a fire burned the Oasis to the ground in 1923. Colburn's Main Street was once the property line between two original settlers of the area, George Hall on the west side and John Fitzpatrick on the east. They each donated land to build our town. As you stroll down Main Street, keep an eye out for several historical locations that have withstood the sands of time. The library was once the old Stockman's Bank. The structure that you see was constructed in 1929 and built around the original bank safe from 1908. Across the street from there is the Colburn Cafe, which used to be the Blue Moon Cafe and Bar in the 1920s. The Grand Valley Bank right next to the cafe was once a garage in the 20s as well, and our present-day post office was originally a bakery in the 1940s.
On the corner of Main and High Street is the Grace Bible Church. This was the original site of the famous IOOF Hall, or the Independent Order of Oddfellows Hall, and it was one of the largest buildings to be constructed in Colburn in 1903. The building was torn down in the 50s, and the brick establishment you see was built in its place. At the other end of High Street, on the corner of Elm Avenue, sits the Collburn Congregational Church. This was one of the first churches to be erected in the town, with construction starting in 1901. It has undergone several updates and additions throughout the years and has always served as a house of worship for the community. Just beyond Main Street and over the bridge to the left, you will find the Colburn Fairgrounds. Our annual July 4th celebration, what we call Heritage Days, has been taking place here since the 1920s and continues to do so every Independence Day. In 1923, the Plateau Voice, the local newspaper at the time, printed, "They were bucking horses and bucking steers, and oh boy, those cowboys, how they did their stunts to the enjoyment of the big crowd, supplemented with exciting races. A 3-ring circus was nowhere in comparison to this program." July 1923.
Just to the west of Colburn, you'll find Plateau City. Sam Kiggins, a spirited citizen and doer of things, thought that his plot on earth would be a much better place for a town and donated his land to build and start Plateau City. The city was never incorporated, even though it was quite successful for its time. Blacksmith shops, a post office, a large general store with a hall on top, a livery barn, and even the Holes Business College could all be found in Little Plateau City. In 1965, the Department of Labor established the Colburn Job Corps under the Johnson's administration's War on Poverty, and it was one of the first centers to open. The Job Corps still thrives today, combining classroom, practical, and work-based learning experiences to prepare youth for stable, long-term, and high-paying jobs. Continuing west, you will find the small town of Molina, meaning the one who lives near the mill. Molina became a success due to the large grain mill that was once built and run there. The mill serviced most, if not all, the citizens in the area for their flour and grain needs. On the opposite side of our valley, up above the town of Colburn, is Vega Reservoir. In 1904, the Vega community was a close-knit ranching district, but after the construction of the Vega Dam in the 1950s, the area morphed from an agricultural community to a recreational one. Vega Reservoir offers 7 miles of shoreline on the nearly 900-acre lake. From snowmobiling in the winter to fishing in the summer, Vega Reservoir is surely one of the most beautiful areas around our town.
Heading down the mesa, you will find a road named 45½ Road, also known as the Dubec Cutoff. This road was originally petitioned for in 1891 and followed the old Ute Indian Trail from Dubec to the Plateau Valley. This road was used to easily transport goods and eventually settlers to the Plateau Valley area and contributed greatly to this area's growth and success over the generations. A few miles past Molina, at the intersection of Highway 330 and Highway 65, take a left to go up the Grand Mesa a bit further to find the town of Mesa. In 1882, Mr. John Brown, a Civil War veteran, settled in the area, bringing the valley's first herd of cattle with him. The town of Mesa became the first stop on the southern trip over the Grand Mesa. Today, this quaint town sits a few miles away from the base of Powderhorn Ski and Snowboard Resort and continues to be a favorite stopping point for those visiting or traveling over the mesa. Thank you for joining us on our first Walking History Tour. We appreciate your interest in the town of Colburn and look forward to hosting you and your family soon. This project was funded by a grant from the Associated Governments of Northern Colorado and the town of Colburn, with immense gratitude to the Plateau Valley Historical Preservation Society.